Hello, we've now reached the middle of May, Saturday the 17th. Highly significant in numerous ways. I don't even really know how to sort of go about this, but I thought we'd go with a recap of things and how things are sort of unfolding and making sense. First off, there is the pattern. So here at this location, there was an issue with the water stopped flowing, so it's get the water flowing, get the flow going again. That in turn has, by taking that physical action, has allowed a lot of things to start flowing and coming through. The next step was to take physical action with the structure. Hello, we have another bee that's, just landed on my hand. As I was about to make this video, there was a massive all-black bee. The wings are either look to be purple or blue, depending on whether they're stationary or flying. There's something I mentioned, I think it might have been on the last video or the one before, about the last few days, bees keep landing on me or coming round. So there's the proof of that. So anyway, the structure. So taking active steps with the potato bed, rebuilding or reconstructing a retaining wall so it brings everything onto a level. So that's taking an active step of structure. Now, I mentioned in the last video about a solid foundation. I mentioned about balance. That has come out in two separate tarot readings I listened to. One mentioned rock bottom, that was Sonia A 333 channel, and Scottish Gypsy channel mentioned about balance, and also this number 55. So the little prelude video I made has actually come out as 55 seconds. It's like you just can't make this sort of thing up. So, where do we go from here? 3 times now I have been either through comments to previous videos or direct emails mention of the Tree of Knowledge channel and its video 225, The Seat of Reality. And wow, what has unfolded? We'll come on to that. Another aspect of this concerns yesterday, which was a Good Friday. That also will come into this as well. The 16th and 17th. From a personal perspective, that is also highly significant in that if we take the 5th of May as being a 55, 16 or 17 days after that takes you to the 21st and 22nd of May. I cannot pinpoint exactly which was the day of the birth of this avatar, so I tend to go with, we'll take midnight between the two. So the evening and the morning was the first day, you could say. I thought that seems to make perfect sense to me. So we've also got what I've mentioned before, Dr. Dani, astrologer physician, talking about the golden phoenix angle, which it's a gap. It's G.P.A, which is actually G.A.P. The golden opportunity and the phoenix, it's about a reset, it's about a golden opportunity. Well, it has now arrived. So going to Tree of Knowledge channel. I did listen to this last night, this video 225, The Seat of Reality. Now I've seen this chair. I'm just trying to remember how long ago it was. I think we're talking something in the region of about 27 years ago. Possibly longer than that. I really can't be certain. But I did see this chair, and it is massive. And I've not mentioned this on video before, but with this coming of bees keep landing on me and things, there's been several times where I've sat in a chair and it feels like I'm sitting in a throne. But then something really strange happens. And I would suggest what has been revealed is we are one. I invite you to listen to the Tree of Knowledge channel. I'll put the link in the description to this video 225, where we can all sit in this chair. But something very strange happens, because it is a massive chair that, from our perception, you would say would be made for a giant. I wouldn't even like to consider how big, in a physical sense, that this giant being would be. But what actually happens, from my experience, when you sit in the chair, whilst there is no loss of identity, you suddenly feel connected to everybody else that is sitting in that chair, and you get this sensation of we are one. Another little thing that's come into this, I've been watching or re-watching, I don't know why, something just said watch these again. It's the Sapphire and Steel sci-fi series. There was only 6 assignments or 6 stories. Now the assignment 3 was about this entity that could move in photographs. It had no face of its own. So now the connection has come as why did that come into this? Because when we are one, which one of us are we going to look like? We're not going to look like any of them. It also references about make no graven images, because we are one. So therefore, we would look like all of us, and yet none of us at the same time. That's if we were to come from this from a perception of looking at something physical. But I invite you to listen to that Tree of Knowledge channel video and then put it to the test. Because there is something really beautiful that unfolds out of this. What else has been coming to me is the story of Parsifal, and what is connected with that is this mythical castle called Montsalvat, which, like everything else, has been taken literally and has materialized. There is a Montsalvat with a massive castle, which is said to have connections with the Knights Templar. When we turn to Wagner's masterpiece, Parsifal, you get what is called Good Friday music. So yesterday was a Good Friday, the 16th, which 1 and 6 makes 7. It's a divine number. And then 17, 1 and 8 means eternity. This ties in with this throne, this chair that Sonia talks about. because she's looked at the hieroglyphs on it, and one of them is a broken ankh because it's breaking a key. What is unfolding is something magical. It starts in this metaphysical, it starts in the imagination, and it will materialize. But let's just look now at a throne. What are you hearing when I say the word throne? Are you considering a type of chair, for example? Or, just to do a sort of variation on the David and Goliath, I've picked up a stone. So we'll just chuck it away. So what have I done with that stone? I have thrown it. So there's another meaning to the word throne. Funny, it's exactly the same sound, but a slightly different spell. But can you think of a third meaning of the word throne? Because this ties in as well. There is an electrical component called a throw switch. So this seat that is in the Vatican, it is a throne in more than one sense, in that the polarity has now been thrown. So you don't actually have to do anything about the perceived evil, the perceived darkness, because only the worthy, only those that are pure at heart, will be able to sit in that throne and have that experience of, oh, we are one. It will throw and repel the negative polarity of anything coming towards it that tries to sit in that chair. Those that are so wavering, that are lukewarm, disbelievers and such like, the skeptical, they may even be able to imagine sitting in the chair, but it will have no effect because they are sort of neutral. They've not thrown themselves in, shall we say, to going all in to the positive, to repel the negative. So because we're in a realm of duality, whilst it is taking the neutral path, there's also another type of neutral which is indifferent rather than being indifferent, different inside, in other words. So let's just consider, if we take the word throne, it's basically a chair. Chair is an anagram of archai, which is basically referencing your higher self. You may also see in the word chair, you've got C and hair, or air. You've actually got CH and R, which references the chrism, the Christ consciousness being expressed in that. So you can see the air apparent, that can rightfully sit in that throne, which is all of us that are coming from the heart center. What this actually will do, it will follow a blueprint pattern. The easiest analogy I can give you is, I have an idea of creating a structure, a house, we'll say. So I give that idea to an architect and say, draw me up a blueprint. So the architect will now draw up a blueprint, which will then be given to a builder. So there's your active step, and then you have a completed structure of a house. So it's gone from imagination to physical outplay, through that series of steps. By sitting in this throne, in this chair, and sending out edicts that are benevolent, not self-serving, but benevolent, that is going to have an effect. It will lead to something that is coming anyway, which is the Phoenix event. We're in this weekend of the Golden Phoenix angle, so the Phoenix implies and it always is associated with a reset, the Phoenix rising from the ashes, creating something new out of the destruction. It's a golden angle because it's a golden opportunity. It's a bird with two wings, and between those two wings is this mythical being, this energy force, this phoenix, or you could describe it also as a dragon as well. That came into the mind how I made a video saying there needs to be draconian measures. It's so easy to compartmentalize things and see things as just totally negative. Like secret societies, I've talked about this, that there are secret societies that you don't hear about that are actually working for good. What has also come into the mind, the 16th or 17th, well, the 16th or 17th day after the 5th of May, which is the 55, is the born day of this avatar. And I was thinking, wouldn't it be lovely if I could pick up that chance card, like in the game of Monopoly, and it says, it is your birthday, collect £10 from each player. What physical benefits I could give if that were true, and all of you sent me £10, and I don't know what could we raise out of that, but what I would do with that would be to create something that would benefit many, not something self-serving. Yes, I would benefit, but as part of a collective. There is nothing wrong with that. You're not here to be sitting in poverty, in depression, in negativity. You're here to have an experience. So coming from the heart center, radiating that out by becoming from the heart, you can't help but benefit from it, but it's not a self-serving thing. But I just found that totally amazing, that sensation of when you sit in that chair in your imagination, how suddenly there is this sensation of this. I would even say, if we're going to give it a figure, there's 144,000 sitting in this chair, because the chair is so large and it can accommodate us all. And yeah, just sit in that chair. Start proclaiming those edicts that are suggested by Sonia, that no more wars, no more poverty, no more restrictions. Use your imagination. All the things that you perceive are of benefit to a few and not benefiting everybody or the greater majority. Then start making edicts that state that we will no longer have all this crap in this world. Will you see it play out is the key thing, of course. What we're actually doing is we're creating a new order out of the chaos. Remember, there is always in this realm a positive and negative polarity. So where you have an accepted thing of, oh, order out of chaos, the new world order, That's on the negative polarity, but do you not see the balance that there is also a positive of that as well? Because the one reflects the other, but we can bring it together and turn it into something positive that then flows out, that creates structure in this reality. It will have a knock-on effect that is still leading to the year 2040. But as I said about the 555 and the 55, time speeding up, it will cause a new order which will create a chaos for the negative polarity that now has to react to its worst nightmare as is coming true, as it were. So it will be doing things, but know that what comes is from taking personal responsibility of our part in this, and then just observing what unfolds, because this is leading to something really beautiful. I'm just, well, lost for words really, but I'm just amazed at the way all these little things have come together. Not from a conscious plan, oh, I'll watch this and I'll watch that and I'll be able to stitch them together, but seeing, because we always see in retrospect. So now looking back over the last few days, why do the bees keep landing on me? Why does it feel like I'm sitting in a throne? Why is there this feeling of I no longer feel separate and isolated? I feel a part of something that you cannot create a graven image of, because it has no face, because it has many faces. This is just so amazing. And this weekend as well, the Golden Phoenix angle. This is the golden opportunity that I referred to, following on from what Dr. Dani, astrologer physician channel, talked about. So we've got Monsalvat as well with Parsifal. Well, Parsifal is that 0 or 22 card. It is the Fool. For many of you, if you know nothing about the story of Parsifal as given by Wagner, now Wagner took many legends and myths and weaved a new story. So here again is being shown that whilst on the one hand with a negative polarity you have a weaving and pulling together bits and pieces together to create a story which you know to date as the Bible, which actually has a very negative intent, its counterpart is what Wagner did. It was done basically through one, because he's unusual in terms of composers, that he didn't just set the music, he wrote the libretto, he put his whole self into it. He even achieved creating a festival theatre in Bayreuth in southern Germany that still exists today, which perform exclusively his music dramas and operas. So without any knowledge of it, if you were to watch Parsifal, you would automatically play the part of Parsifal of being the Fool, and it's like, I haven't got a clue what's going on here. But that has also come into it with a series of lectures by Mandy P. Hall that have recently come out on the great operas, of which Parsifal was one of the subject matters. So this castle that is set in northern Spain in Wagner's drama Monsalvat, well, Monsalvat just basically means my salvation. But of course it's been materialized into a physical object today. So I'm just trying to think where else we want to go with this. Hello, we have another bee or something flying around now. So what a wonderful magical experience when you put all these ingredients together. Where this is now going, this weekend definitely is significant. This is a golden phoenix angle for certain. The ringing in the ear yesterday as well was a completely different pitch. I would say a very much a lower tone that I experienced. That would also seem to imply connected to the solid foundation on which to build a structure. Whether you want to perceive it as just a throne, or whether you want to encase it in a hall, for example. That's the other part I wanted to mention. Now, it was Wendy, Sonia's daughter, who made the connection of Halls of AMent. Well, you've got Amen, but A meant I. It's basically saying the mind's eye. So you've got my salvation, mind's eye, throne, all these other little ingredients coming into this. There's far more that of just eluding the mind at the moment. One of the big things with making videos, I generally don't have any script. I may sometimes have bullet points, but I thought we'd just go with a free flow of this. But an interesting phenomenon is when something pops in the mind and then vanishes again, if you try and think it, what was it, how it disappears, because it is not from the thinking, it's allowing the things to come into the mind's eye. That is the Hall of AMent. The chair is the archi. The arc is the dome of the rock, which is your skull, which is Golgotha. There is no coincidence with any of these things. So what has now been implemented is the start of a new world order. It will, like everything else, come with contrasts. It is a given, I would say, that what you will see portrayed in the media will now be ramped up because they're desperate, because they have nothing new. This is another pattern that comes out of this. What you would consider and call the evil, the darkness, is like a lie. It cannot be constructed upon a lie. Even that needs a solid foundation of truth on which to then manipulate, to twist, to turn into a lie. But of course it then starts off a process that lie has to be continually fed with another lie to cover its tracks all the time. It's insatiable, which I'm sure you can appreciate with, if you have a perception of this the controllers of this reality. It's not about money, it's about power. It's about maintaining that power where their worst nightmare has now come. So you've got a bit of etymology there with the word throne, because it's a throw switch. And if you consider the word throne, you've got T and H at the start of that. So you've got the representation of higher self with the letter T. It's the I with the horizontal line at its highest level. There's your letter T. The H is the human. The R is the ray, and there is the one. So there's where you got the word throne. When you string those characters together and make a spell, it reveals something. This is what makes etymology such a useful tool. Looking at the character shapes, looking at how they're strung together, look at what they reveal. As much as anything else, where you can have the word thrown, as in throwing something, as in throwing the polarity of something, or sitting in a throne type of chair. But you'll notice with that chair as well, it is very upright at the back, because it is about being upright. It is about being in balance. It is a solid foundation on which to build as well. It's said to be like a polished black obsidian. That sort of makes sense with the vision I was shown of this stone chair. It gave that impression that not only was it massive, but it was very heavy as well. But it was far more than just a seat. It was, well, I think the term is even used in the material world, seat of power. Well, this one really is. So, what a great way of testing out yourself to see if you really are coming from heart center, because if you are coming from heart center, I would say that it is more or less going to be a given that you will have that sensation of you no longer feel completely an individual. You don't lose that individuality, but you feel that you are an integral part of one. That sensation of we are one comes through. I think that's pretty much covered everything. We're now up to nearly 32 minutes. So there's my perspective on it, just from how these little ingredients have come together, which is effectively making a cake. You're creating something new, which is what this significant marker of this golden phoenix angle weekend is all about. It starts with a Good Friday, the Good Friday spell. So I wonder what Monday will bring. That could be really interesting. So that's what's that going to be? That's so 17th today, Saturday. Oh, it's going to be a 19. Now that's well, 1 and 9. There's that sort of says it all in numerology as much as anything else. So what a magical time to just be. And knowing that you haven't got to put up any resistance to this perceived evil of this world, because it will be repelled from that throne, because they will be thrown, because they are of the wrong energy. So all you are required to do now is use your imagination. From your own observation, what you see of the imbalance of this earth, the tilt of this earth, shall we say, we can have it on the level. We can have things that are more of an even keel. So reference again to the vessel and what I spoke about being rocked by emotions, energy motions. So that throne is the metaphysical, rock-solid foundation on which to build the structure, that the back of that chair is upright, it's in balance. So I think that's covered all that I wanted to say. No doubt there will be something will pop into the mind afterwards, but we'll just hold it over for the next video. It's no bad thing, because there's a lot to unpack, a lot to digest. So do check out the links in the description. And how all this now all fits together is just amazing to see unfold. How do I know this as much as anything else? Because I feel it inside. I've been feeling it for a while, but it's not something that I could have put together from the conscious mind. It just is, rather than just ice. So as always, unconditional love to you all.